All right, good morning, guys. You saw last week we finally got to work on something that we've been talking about for a long time. It's one of those things that now that we're kind of rolling on a little bit, I keep saying to myself, "What the hell took me so long?" That's a question that it makes a lot of sense now. What the hell took you so long? But as time's going by, you don't always think about it. And I think that happens to a lot of projects. So I think it's a good idea to touch on that, talk about it, and see if we can help each other out with this week's Tuesday Morning Tech Tip from Pugliese Speed Shop. Obviously, guys, I'm talking about this little gem back here, my 1965 C10. It was my daily driver for a whole bunch of years. It's the only vehicle I had. Well, other than the other vehicles I had. My 53 Pontiac and my 74 shovel. Megan had a caddy. I bought this. That was how it was. Actually, I think the caddy was mine too. Okay, I might have been lying a little bit because she actually hated that DeVille. But we bought her an SRX afterwards and things were great. Until they weren't. But yeah, I bought the truck. It was great. I did some things, put a motor in it, fixed a little stuff here and there, and just drove it. This part always gets me. And then somebody on their cell phone doing 100 mile an hour or something where they shouldn't have been, drove into the side of it, and well, you have heard the story a million times, and I'll show you again. Why not, right? Because then that happened. Not great. I initially jumped on it, and I was like, I even said at the scene of the accident, the kid was pretty upset because he did tell me I was good. Now, I break his balls all the time, but I looked too, and I didn't see it. I don't know where this woman come from, but he's like, "Oh my God, look at your truck, look at your truck. We worked so hard on it." And I said, "Dude, we did it once, we'll do it again, don't worry about it." And I meant that. I 100% meant that. And then shortly afterwards, we started to mess around. I'm going to sit down and talk about this, guys, because we're gonna get into some things. But basically, what I'm saying here is we went from I was all motivated on it to, well, then I wasn't, right? What happened? What happened is what always happens. You get too comfortable in your day-to-day life that it just kind of gets put in the background and you forget about it. Out of sight, out of mind. Sometimes it's still in sight and it's out of mind, right? I told the story before, but I'll give you a quick relapse. Relapse? No, that's not the right. You know what I mean. I bought this thing. Andrew found it for me on Craigslist. That should tell you how long we've had it. It had the look I wanted. I wanted to change some things, right? But I really wanted something that was just unmolested, right? Because these trucks will get just cut up and some of them we looked at were nice, some were a mess. This was original for the most part. It had the 350 was put in it. Well, not this one, another one. Maybe I should turn you so you can see the truck because I got this guy in the background. It doesn't make any sense. All right, that makes a little bit more sense now, right? Where was I? So I said, yeah, we bought it. It was in great shape. We drove it home. We might have ran out of gas on the way home because we found out that a quarter really means empty, but other than that, things were great. It had that crappy V8 in it, the 350 from the 80s, like when Chevy painted them blue to like trying to fool people like it was a Ford motor or something in there. But yeah, so that's what it had in it. And but I blew that real quick. Got this guy, also off Craigslist, and ran it for a while till she wanted to leak all over the place. Went on deployment. Got it rebuilt while I was on deployment, transferred to Maryland, and finally put it in there. and guys just drove the truck. I mean, pulled the little trailer we had with it. It's been over to Virginia a couple times to pick stuff up, and we were building the S10 for the kid. Went and bought parts with this thing all the time. It's the only pickup we had other than the S10 that was in pieces. So that's what we did, right? And guys, it was awesome. I loved it. It got tons of looks everywhere it went. I didn't like it as much in traffic in the summer on a vinyl seat. Might be like black, but what are you gonna do? Well, then got hit, right? Actually, got hit twice. You got the little mark right there, yeah. And then that wasn't a big deal. That was somebody that didn't know where they wanted to turn to, and into my truck decided to be their idea. We fixed it, and I was like, the paint's crap. It's a 2004 Mako job. Who cares? We'll get around to it. And then it wasn't much longer after that. It was in 6 months when the other side happened. And like I said, I was like, hey, not a big deal. We got it, buddy. And me and him jumped in. Well, actually, before we get there, let me back it up a second. I had a Jeep at the time that I pulled out of a field that I traded a television for, if you can believe that. And I was going to flip it or do whatever. And I said, well, I'll just drive this. So that became my daily driver for about 6 to 9 months when the flex plate decided to crack in half. I wasn't pulling this thing apart because it was kind of a rust bucket. So we offed that thing. And that's when Megan told me, Chaz, this isn't cute anymore. We're in our 40s. Buy a vehicle that runs. Because me and my buddy Joe were going to go get a, just buy a 4.0, 4.0, there's a 4.0 in that thing, and just keep driving that. And she's like, no, please don't. So that's when I bought my F-150. Bought an 09 F-150. This was in 2016. I want to say 16, maybe 17. I think it might have been February of 2017. That's when it was. So the truck was real nice. We picked that thing up, ran around for a little bit, did a little bit of work to it. And then me and Andrew jumped in the truck with a U-Haul trailer and shot down to, I forget where in North Carolina, but it was an entire tank of gas to get there. Maybe 2, I forget. But it was long. It was far away. All right. We drove down there to get what we thought was going to be the saving grace of this truck. Was a cab, bedsides, doors, fenders, no hood. Basically, the guy bought all this stuff to rebuild his rust bucket truck. And I think I paid $800 for this stuff. It was all sandblasted and primed, so you knew exactly what you were getting. Nothing was hidden. And I was like, awesome. We drag it all back, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get into this now. Well, I was getting ready to retire for the Navy. Lots of things were happening, and guys, it's like I said, you get comfortable in your daily life. I had a super reliable truck. That was a nice truck. And I always had something else going on, especially I was retired, I was starting a new job, all that kind of stuff. So we moved all that stuff over here. As we moved it over here is when I realized I didn't buy a Chevy cab. I bought a GMC cab, which, got it. It's pretty much the same thing, except for the dash is 1,000 times different. And I like the Chevy dash a lot better. So I was like, oh, I'll just swap the dash into that. No big deal. So I did a little research on how that goes. And it's a bigger job than I thought it'd be. And I said, you know what, man? Maybe it'd be better. You always come up with different plans, all right? The whole time I was thinking about it. Every now and then I'd come across a truck on Marketplace or something like that. A good-looking, decent truck. No title, no motor. Well, I have those things. So that was my new thing. I'm going to do that. And I tried to do that because I was pretty sure my frame was bent, right? So I tried to do that, and I was not quick enough because every time one of those came up, somebody else had the same idea I did, right? I'm sure they had a rust bucket one and they had a 350 on a stand or whatever. So that's what I was going to do. And I kept coming up with nothing, right? Because I just wasn't quick enough. And then Then I had this great idea. I was going to frame swap it to a Tahoe frame because I was like, oh man, you get an LS, you get this, you get that, all this stuff, right? We're going to do that. Well, I don't know why I went down that. Your style changes over the years sometimes as you're doing things. And that was kind of like the new hotness, right? Everybody's doing that. I looked into that. I saw some that were done that way. And then I just didn't, I changed my mind on that. But I was determined I needed a donor truck. That's how we got the green 65. I picked that up for like $500. And that was what I was going to do. That was the frame. And I was going to put this on there and see which cab was better. And I had all these ideas, right? Well, guys, things never... That one had a title, and it wasn't bad enough to junk. So, at least in my eyes, it wasn't. A lot of people wouldn't care. But nowadays, 65 C10, you have one with a clean title, and it's actually somewhat legit. You don't junk it. So, I was going to build that. I was going to make a shop truck out of it. You guys saw some videos. I got that running-ish, right? Well, that kind of 2022, when I pushed it out of the shop and it went into the woods and hit that tree, that was the last time I really thought about that thing. All right. Until I ended up trading that for that Suburban, which turned out great. So, I mean, everything happens for a reason, right? So, when I decided that was going to be my shop truck, before I pushed it outside and forgot about it, I was on some 64 to 66 parts pages and whatnot, and I came across a truck. There was this dude who lived up in York or whatever, and he had a truck that was gorgeous. I don't know why he still had drum brakes all the way around on it, because I think it was like LS swapped, and I mean, it was a bad truck, man. Well, I was going to buy that, and it was a bad truck. And then one night, probably because he still had drum brakes on it, he crashed into something and screwed the roof line up. It was pretty bad. Well, there's nothing wrong with my roof line. So I was like, hey, man, I'm going to pick this up and we're going to get after that. And I was actually going to get it. Like it was the same weekend I bought the FXR of Kevin. I got the FXR and then I was like, I'm going to buy this thing too. And well, then the guy wasn't 100% on the up and up. Things started to kind of, well, I'm going to take this out of the truck. Well, I'm going to take that. Well, this, that, and this, that. And next thing you know, it's missing a lot of panels. It's missing what, and I'm getting his scraps. And that's not what I was trying to buy. And that wasn't the deal. So, I backed out of that one. And then, guys, and this is obviously in between each one of these things, I kind of felt defeated and just kind of kicked it to the curb for a minute. And I want to say I forgot about it, but I forgot about it, right? So we then it just sat for a while, and I kept coming with these ideas. And Kevin was over here looking at it. He's like, "Dude, basically, you got a bunch of parts on a motor, man. Why don't you just sell it?" And I kept thinking about, okay, maybe I should. Maybe he's right, man. Kevin, I break his balls. We go back and forth, but like I said a million times, he knows how to do a project. Maybe this one's over. Maybe this is no more, right? Well, then I was like, you know what? Me and Megan started talking. I was looking at some other things I was going to pick up, and she's like, you need to do something with this truck. I said, yeah, you're right. And she's like, I should have got off the pot, dude. So, kind of came up with a deadline of we're going to see if we can fix this thing and go from there. So what I did, I said, you know what? This frame, I think, is shot. Let's find out. Let's bring some experts into this because I'm clearly an idiot. Let's see what's going on. So I reached out I started just calling people, just Googling spots and calling people. Hey, man, who's got a frame straightener? Who knows this? Who knows that? Had this guy Howard come by. He's very well known locally here. He's got he's got a collision shop. He does a lot of really high end builds and stuff too, like on the side type of thing. So he comes by, and I made a video about this about a year ago, and he looked at it and gets under it, and he's like, "Frame's fine, dude. I was like, really? He's like, it may be a quarter of an inch off. He's like, you put on a phrase straightener for an hour, we're good to go. Don't go phrase swap it. This thing is super clean underneath because it's a 51,000 mile California truck. And even when it was on the West Coast or the East Coast here, it was always garage kept. It's been in here for years, as we know. But even at the other house, it was always in the garage. Got caught in the rain a few times because, like I said, it was my only vehicle. It's not a car. But they got caught in the snow twice because, poor decision making. But that was it. So I said, okay. He's like, yeah, you can get rid of that other thing. So I did. That's when I decided to get rid of that one. And he gave me a list of what I needed. I said, okay. See what we need here. So that's when you guys saw me buy a bunch of parts. The back part of the cab, floors, well, the one side floor, cab mounts. What else did I buy? Rockers. There's other stuff over there, guys. Well, the door and the bedsides I already had. That was pretty obvious. So I got all that stuff together, and it took a little while. Because I went to Jersey and back, and I had excuses, whatever. It took a while to get it all together. I got it all together, and I reached back out to him, like, hey, man, when do you want to do it? And he's like, I'll get back to you, man. I'm doing a lot of insurance work. I'm doing this and doing that. And I was like, okay. And I said, this is almost a year had passed, right? So I can't be that pissed off at the dude, right? But, like I said, you get comfortable in your own daily life. And it's like you don't realize how fast time goes by, right? So he said, I'll get you some numbers, somebody that might want to work on it. He's like, I just can't do it right now. Maybe I can get you in the end of summer, but who knows? Because I got it, man. He's running a business, and this isn't what he's doing every day. So that's when we actually, old Wade hit up Joe, and he went and looked at him for his F1 Hondo, and dude came back with an amazing price, and he's got all sorts of great reviews. He works with Howard, locally well-known guy, all that kind of stuff. He just did a 65 or 66 C10, so he knows these trucks, pretty fresh. And I said, yeah, cool. Old Wade talked to him, and Wade's like, hey, seems like a really good dude, man. This is what's up. He's got the F100 right now, actually. And I said, okay, let's get it done. Hit him up. He came over and looked at it, told me the same stuff that Howard told me, and said, man, I want to do it. Came up with a price, came up with a timeline, and by the time you guys see this, that should be in the shop, right? Like you guys know, I'm about to go up to Jersey again. And when I get back, we're yanking it over there. That's why we're getting it good to go. So, all that being said, guys, you saw the last episode. 2016 is when this thing got hit. November of 2016. Right now, it's April of 2025. You know how long I should have been enjoying this thing? But instead, I'm buying another piece of crap. Stuff I don't care about, right? And I talk about, I got that Dodge sitting out there. Yeah, it's cool. It's not like my dream car or truck or whatever. Why am I doing that stuff? Why did I buy that when this was sitting over here? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I look at that Dodge and I was like, I can do that. This is way out of my comfort zone. Maybe I could do it. I'll tell you what. Over the last freaking 9 years, I could have got it done. 9 years, guys. 9 years, I could have gone ahead, put myself through night school, become a master welder, and all this, and figure this out in 9 years. Instead, it sat in the corner, and I dwelled on it and felt overwhelmed, and then felt helpless, and then felt maybe overconfident, and it's an emotional roller coaster. So if you got a project like this that's sitting in the corner of the shop, sitting out back under a tarp, sitting in your garage with a ton of shit all over it, shit or get off the pot, guys. I'm glad I decided to not get off the pot because I absolutely love this truck. I've got great memories of the truck. Me and Andrew going to pick it up and drives we've been on, the stuff we've done, all that. Absolutely love it. Me and Nick put 2 motors in this thing. I did one of it myself, but we did one in my driveway in California. Just all sorts of like cool stuff I don't want to forget, and it's all wrapped up right there. And I let it sit for years, and it's inexcusable. So get out there, guys. Like I said, in those 9 years, I didn't send myself to that school, and I still suck at welding. So guess what? I found a guy that'll do it, and it's way cheaper than buying another vehicle. And find me another 51,000-mile truck that was on a farm in California for the first 35 years of its life. Probably not going to happen. I wish I would have made this determination sooner. To everyone like Megan and Kevin and old Wade told me over the years, dude, do something. My buddy Jason, everybody telling me, dude, do something or not, man. What are you doing? Appreciate it. And I know I probably got aggravated over the years. Like, leave me alone. I'll get to it. It's my shit. Maybe they should have pushed hard. But it took me a while to come to this conclusion, to just realize that sometimes, I was always a big built, not bought guy. And I still am, guys, right? As much as it seems like it's the easiest thing to do, no matter what you buy, and I just said it in a recent video, no matter what you buy, if you're looking at old stuff, you're going to have some kind of project, right? And some people want to have people work on them. Some people want to work, whatever. It's up to you guys. Do what you want. Do you. You know what I'm saying? But I finally put my pride aside and said, this dude is better at this than me. He fixes it. He sends it to me. We'll do all the finished stuff and get this thing set up exactly like we want it. And we'll be out there loving this thing again and letting everybody else love it, right? I'm depriving the rest of the world from the greatness of this truck and all of its potential. So it's crime on hot rodding, if you ask me. So there it is, guys. Shit or get off the pot. I don't know how many times I can curse in a video without somebody getting upset, but we're probably getting kind of close to it. So I'm going to end it and let you know that while you're watching this, Joe's probably already cutting into this thing. Thanks for watching, guys.